My name is Madison Foster, and I'm 32 years old. They say family is everything, but what happens when your own sister treats you like a parasite, only to discover you're the one holding all the cards? When I rolled up to my mountain lodge for a weekend reset, I found my sister, her husband, and his parents living there like they owned the place. She actually called me a tick and threatened to call the cops on me at my own property. What she didn't know was that in 48 hours, I'd be signing the biggest deal of my career right in front of her husband's powerful family. And when the truth came out, well, let's just say their whole fantasy came crashing down harder than an avalanche. Before we dive into this wild ride, please take a moment to like and subscribe, but only if you truly enjoy this story. I'd love to know where you're watching from and what time it is there. Let me take you back to where it all started. Growing up as the youngest foster daughter meant living in Sarah's shadow. She was 3 years older, louder, and somehow always managed to make herself the center of attention. Our parents, especially Mom, treated her like royalty while well, I was just Madison, the quiet one, the one who helped with dishes while Sarah held court in the living room. Everything shifted when Sarah married David Mitchell 5 years ago. Suddenly, she wasn't just my older sister, she was a Mitchell. David's parents, Robert and Patricia, practically ran Colorado's real estate scene. Robert sat on every board that mattered, and Patricia's charity galas were the stuff of Denver society pages. Sarah loved to remind me of this at every family dinner. "Madison's still renting that tiny apartment," she'd announce, while David smirked into his wine. "But don't worry, sweetie, not everyone can marry well." What they didn't know, what I made sure they never knew, was that I'd stopped being poor little Madison years ago. While Sarah flaunted her husband's family connections, I quietly built Foster architectural design from my studio apartment. My first client came through a college professor's recommendation. Then another, then another. By the time Sarah was planning her third anniversary party, I had 12 employees and an office in downtown Denver. But I kept it all under wraps. Why? Because I'd learned early that in my family, success was either Sarah's to claim or Sarah's to diminish. So I smiled through the condescension, nodded through the unsolicited advice, and built my empire in silence. The thing about keeping secrets, though, is that they have a way of revealing themselves at the most interesting moments. In March 2022, I did something that would have sent my family into cardiac arrest if they'd known. I bought a mountain lodge in Aspen for $2.8 million. Cash. The property was everything I'd dreamed of. 5,000 square feet of timber and stone perfection, sitting on 12 acres with views that could make you forget every harsh word ever spoken to you. The previous owner, a tech executive who'd moved to Switzerland, needed a quick sale. My lawyer, Lauren Hayes, handled everything with the discretion of a Swiss banker. "You sure you don't want this in your company name?" Lauren had asked, reviewing the papers. "Personal name," I'd insisted. "This one's just for me." The lodge became my sanctuary. Every other weekend, I'd drive up there to sketch designs, meet with high-profile clients who valued privacy, or simply sit by the floor-to-ceiling windows and exist without judgment. I installed a state-of-the-art security system, cameras, motion sensors, the works, all accessible from my phone. Can't be too careful when you own a property worth more than most people's retirement funds. I never told my family. Not when Mom complained about my cramped apartment. Not when Sarah joked about my sad single life at Thanksgiving. Not even when Dad, the only one who seemed to notice my new confidence, asked if I was doing okay financially. "I'm managing," I'd always say, and leave it at that. The lodge was supposed to be my secret forever, my place to breathe, my proof that I'd made it without anyone's help or approval. I had the deed locked in my home safe, the security footage backing up to the cloud, and absolutely no intention of sharing this piece of my life with anyone who'd made me feel small. Funny how plans change. 2 weeks before everything exploded, I got the call that would change my career forever. James Chen, CEO of Meridian Holdings, wanted to meet. Not his assistant, not his development team, James himself. "Madison, I've been following your work since the Vail Resort project. he said over coffee at the Four Seasons. We're planning something big. 45 million over 5 years. Exclusive resort development across Colorado. I want Foster Architectural Design to lead it. I nearly dropped my cup. Meridian Holdings was the whale every firm in Denver wanted to land. They transformed half of Colorado's luxury real estate market. And James Chen, who could have any architect in the world, wanted me. I need someone with vision but also discretion, James continued. Your work speaks for itself, but it's your reputation for integrity that sealed this for me. The board meets October 21st. Can you present? October 21st. I pulled out my phone, pretending to check my calendar while my heart hammered. I'll be there. What James didn't mention, what I'd learn later, was that Robert Mitchell had been lobbying hard for his golf buddy's firm to get this contract. The same Robert Mitchell who'd sneered at me last Christmas, asking if I needed a loan when I declined Sarah's offer to buy me a proper winter coat. That night, I called Lauren to review the contract terms. Exclusivity clause, performance bonuses, a number that would make my company one of the top firms in the state. Everything I'd worked for, validated in black and white. I stared at my laptop screen, the Meridian contract glowing like a promise. In 3 days, I'd drive to Aspen for a quiet weekend to prepare. Then Monday, everything would change. If only I'd known how much. October 18th, 2024. 3:47 p.m. I remember the exact time because I'd just checked my phone at a red light, calculating how long until I reached my sanctuary. The presentation for Meridian was ready, but I needed these 2 days to center myself. No family drama, no pretending to be less than I was, just me, the mountains, and silence. The 3-hour drive from Denver to Aspen usually calmed me, but something felt off as I turned onto the private road leading to my lodge. Fresh tire tracks in the early snow. Multiple sets. My lodge was at the end of a mile-long private drive, marked only by a discrete number on a stone pillar. No one should be here. I slowed my Tesla, unease prickling my spine. As I rounded the final bend, my stomach dropped. A white Range Rover sat in my driveway, David's. Next to it, a black Mercedes that screamed Robert Mitchell. Sarah's red BMW completed the unwelcome fleet. My hands tightened on the steering wheel. How did they even know about this place? Through the massive windows, I could see lights blazing, shadows moving inside. My sanctuary, my private space, invaded. I pulled up slowly, parking behind their vehicles. The front door, my custom mahogany door with the thumbprint lock I'd specifically chosen, stood slightly ajar. The sound of laughter drifted out. Sarah's distinctive shriek of delight, Patricia's measured chuckle, Robert's booming voice. They were having a party. In my house. For a moment, I sat frozen, processing the violation. Then I saw it. Sarah's Instagram story notification popping up on my phone. She was broadcasting from inside, champagne glass in hand, captioning it, "Mountain Paradise with the fam." I took a deep breath, turned off my engine, and prepared to walk into my own home. The door swung open before I could reach it. Sarah stood there in designer loungewear, holding a wine glass like she was hosting a Pottery Barn photo shoot. Her face morphed from relaxed to disgusted in half a second. "What do you want, Tick?" She actually said it. Tick, like I was some parasite. "This is private property. I'll call the cops." "Go ahead," I said, stepping forward. "I dare you." "Dare." She blocked the doorway with her body, but I pushed past her into my own living room. The scene that greeted me was surreal. David sprawled on my $15,000 leather sectional, feet up on my reclaimed wood coffee table. Robert stood by my fireplace like he owned it, examining my photography collection. Patricia had commandeered my kitchen island, multiple shopping bags from Aspen boutiques scattered around her. "Madison?" David sat up, his confusion almost comical. "What are you doing here?" I could ask you the same question. I kept my voice level, though rage simmered beneath. "This is breaking and entering." Robert laughed, actually laughed. "Don't be dramatic. This is our family's investment property. Sarah told us all about it. Now, I don't know what story you've concocted in that head of yours, but we've been here 3 weeks, Patricia added, not even looking up from her phone. The cleaning service knows us by name now. 3 weeks. They'd been living in my lodge for 3 weeks. Sarah smirked, swirling her wine, my wine, from my cellar. Did you really think you could just show up here and pretend you belong? God, Madison, you're more delusional than I thought. This place? This is Mitchell property. David's been managing it for his father's portfolio. The lies came so easily to her, so naturally, and they all believed it. Robert Mitchell stepped forward, his 6'3" frame meant to intimidate. 20 years of boardroom bullying had perfected his technique. Listen carefully, Madison. I don't know what game you think you're playing, but it ends now. This property belongs to Mitchell Holdings, LLC. I have the connections to make your life very difficult if you continue this charade. She's probably drunk, Sarah stage whispered to David. Remember last Thanksgiving? So embarrassing. I'd had exactly 1 glass of wine last Thanksgiving. We're hosting the Colorado Real Estate Association board here tomorrow night, Patricia announced, finally looking up from her phone. 30 of the most influential people in Denver, so whatever little fantasy you're having, it needs to stop. David stood, moving to flank his father. Madison, you should leave. This is getting sad, even for you. The security app on my phone buzzed. Motion detected. Living room. The cameras were recording everything. Every lie, every threat, every trespass. 3 weeks of footage sat in my cloud storage, date and time-stamped. You know what? I pulled out my phone, making a show of checking the time. You're right, this is sad. I looked directly at Robert. Especially since you're up for chairman of the association. Would be a shame if something complicated that vote. His eyes narrowed. Are you threatening me? I don't make threats, Robert. I deal in facts. And the fact is, you're trespassing. I turned to leave, then paused. Enjoy your party tomorrow night. I hear the board loves a good scandal. Sarah's wineglass trembled slightly. You wouldn't dare. Wouldn't I? I walked to the door, my heart pounding but my voice steady. See you Monday at the Meridian signing. Oh, wait, you didn't know about that either, did you? I made it to my car before my hands started shaking. The moment I was out of sight of the lodge, I pulled over and called Lauren Hayes. Lauren, I need you to pull every document related to my Aspen property. Deed, purchase agreement, insurance policies, everything. Madison? What's wrong? The Mitchells have been squatting in my lodge for 3 weeks. They're claiming it's theirs. Silence then. Have they damaged anything? I don't know yet, but I have 3 weeks of security footage uploaded to the cloud. They're on camera breaking in. Robert's on record claiming ownership. I took a breath. They're hosting a party there tomorrow. For the Real Estate Association board. The same board where Robert's running for chairman? Lauren's voice sharpened. Madison, this is criminal trespass, fraud, potentially grand theft. I know, but here's the thing. Monday is the Meridian signing. Robert has connections there. If I go nuclear now, it could jeopardize the deal. Or, Lauren said slowly, we use Monday to our advantage. Public venue, witnesses, documented evidence. James Chen strikes me as someone who values integrity. I stared at the mountains, my mind racing. Can you prepare a presentation? Property documents, security footage highlights, timeline of trespass? I'll have everything ready by Sunday. Madison, they grossly underestimated you. They always have. I started the engine. Book me a room at the St. Regis. And Lauren, find out everything about tomorrow's board vote, candidates, voting members, timeline. Already on it. Madison, don't let them gaslight you. You own that property free and clear. As I drove toward Aspen proper, my phone lit up with notifications. Sarah posting more Instagram stories from my lodge. Each one more evidence, each one more rope for them to hang themselves with. Saturday morning, 7 a.m., St. Regis hotel room. My laptop screen filled with 3 weeks of security footage, systematically organized by Lauren's legal assistant. The violations were staggering. October 1st, 2:34 p.m. Sarah picking the lock with David watching. She'll never know, he says clearly on audio. October 3rd, 11:15 a.m. Robert on my deck, phone call captured. Yes, we're at the family property, Mitchell Holdings' newest acquisition. October 8th, 4:22 p.m. Patricia redecorating, shoving my photography into closets. Madison's taste is so pedestrian, she mutters. October 15th, 9:45 p.m. Sarah hosting friends, giving a tour. This is our little mountain escape. David manages all his father's properties. Lauren had compiled it into a devastating 10-minute presentation. Timestamps, audio enhanced, their faces clearly visible. The deed is ironclad, Lauren confirmed over the phone. Purchased March 15th, 2022. Your name only. No liens, no disputes. I'm also sending screenshots of Sarah's social media posts. She's tagged the location as Mitchell Mountain House. An email popped up from James Chen's assistant. Ms. Foster, Mr. Chen wanted to confirm you're still presenting Monday. He's particularly excited about your vision for the Meridian properties. I smiled. Then another email arrived, this one from a name I recognized. Marcus Webb, current vice chairman of the Real Estate Association, likely Robert's opponent for chairman. Ms. Foster, I understand there may be some property dispute involving the Mitchells. If you have documentation you'd like the board to review before tomorrow's vote, I'm available. The universe was aligning. I screenshot Sarah's latest Instagram story. Her in my master bathroom, soaking in my copper tub, captioned, "Living my best life." Lauren, I texted, prepare 2 USB drives with everything, one for Meridian, one for the association. The Mitchells thought they were predators. They were about to learn they were prey. If you've ever been treated like you're worthless by toxic family members who take advantage of your kindness, type boundaries in the comments below. I want to know, what would you do if your family was literally stealing from you while calling you delusional? And hey, if this story is hitting home for you, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell, because what happens at the Meridian signing is going to be absolutely explosive. Sarah and the Mitchells have no idea what's coming. And trust me, you don't want to miss seeing them face the consequences of their actions. Sunday morning brought a social media storm. Sarah had posted a LinkedIn article, Weekend Reflections from the Mitchell Mountain Retreat. She'd tagged 30 people, all Real Estate Association board members who'd attended last night's party. The comments were nauseating. Beautiful property, Robert. The Mitchells know how to host. Sarah, you're such a gracious hostess. Then my phone rang. Mom, Madison Foster, what is wrong with you? No hello, no how are you? Sarah called me crying, saying you showed up drunk at their mountain house making insane accusations. She says you've been stalking them. Mom, did Sarah tell you whose house it actually is? Don't start with your jealousy again. Your sister has worked hard for what she has. Just because David's family is successful doesn't mean you can harass them. Mom, You're 32 years old, Madison. When are you going to stop this childish competition with your sister? She's worried about you. We all are. Maybe you should talk to someone. The gaslight was so bright I could have seen it from space. You're right, Mom. I should talk to someone. Like a lawyer, or the police, or the 50 business leaders who'll be at tomorrow's Meridian signing. What signing? Madison, are you having some kind of breakdown? I hung up. There was no point. Tomorrow, they'd all see the truth. Robert had texted David, who'd forwarded it to our family group chat by accident. Your sister seems unstable. I'm concerned about her showing up at professional events. Maybe we should reach out to her employer about getting her help. My employer. If only he knew. Lauren texted. USB drives ready. Documents notarized. James Chen confirmed for 10 a.m. Board vote scheduled for 2 p.m. You ready? I'd never been more ready for anything in my life. Sunday afternoon, I sat with Lauren in her office, the Meridian contract spread across her conference table. The numbers still made my head spin. 45 million over 5 years, Lauren read. Exclusive design rights for all Meridian, Colorado properties. Performance bonuses that could add another 30%. Madison, this makes you one of the highest paid architects in the state. And if Robert sabotages it? Lauren pulled up her tablet. I did some digging. Robert Mitchell has been lobbying James Chen hard for his friend's firm, Brennan Architecture. They've donated heavily to Robert's campaigns for various boards. But here's the interesting part. James Chen can't stand Robert, called him a relic of old boys club politics in a Denver Business Journal interview last year. So why hasn't Robert given up? Because he doesn't know he's already lost. James wants you. But, Lauren hesitated. If there's a public scandal, questions about your stability or credibility, the Meridian board might override James. They're conservative, risk-averse. Any hint of drama could cost me everything. I stood, walking to the window. 45 million, my firm's future, my reputation. The Mitchells don't know about the contract yet. If they did, they'd escalate, try to destroy me before the signing. I turned back. That's why we don't strike until the moment of maximum impact, when they can't recover. Lauren smiled. The signing ceremony, 200 witnesses, media present, Robert's board vote just 4 hours later. Exactly. They think they're attending to network, to flaunt their conquest of my property. Instead, they'll watch their house of cards collapse. My phone buzzed. Sarah again, this time a text. Hope you get the help you need, sis. We're all worried about you. $45 million and my entire future hung in the balance. Tomorrow would either destroy me or set me free. Monday morning, 6 a.m. My phone exploded with notifications. Sarah had sent a group email to extended family, subject line, concerned about Madison. Dear family, I wanted to reach out about Madison's recent behavior. She's been making concerning claims about our family property and seems to be experiencing some form of delusion. David and I are hosting her at the Meridian Holdings ceremony today to keep an eye on her. Please keep her in your thoughts. The condescension dripped from every word. She'd CC'd cousins, aunts, uncles, everyone, making me the family crisis before I could reveal the truth. Then came the twist. Sarah texted me directly. Madison, despite your episode, we got you a ticket to the Meridian signing. David's father pulled strings. Maybe seeing successful people will inspire you to get your life together. We'll pick you up at 9. She had no idea I was the featured speaker. Lauren called. Madison, slight complication. Patricia Mitchell is college friends with Meridian's CFO, Jennifer Walsh. They had dinner last night. My stomach clenched. And? Jennifer asked about you. Patricia apparently said you were family but struggling with reality issues. Jennifer seemed concerned. Perfect, I laughed bitterly. They're poisoning the well. Or trying to. James Chen called Jennifer this morning, told her to ignore any noise about you. He said, and I quote, Madison Foster is the future of Colorado architecture, and anyone who says otherwise is either blind or threatened. Relief flooded through me. The presentation's ready? USB in your purse, backup in mine. The security footage is particularly damning. Oh, and Marcus Webb confirmed he'll be at the signing. He's very interested in your evidence. 48 hours ago, they'd called me a tick. In 3 hours, they'd learn who really owned the mountain. 8:30 a.m. I stood in my apartment, wearing the navy Armani suit I'd bought specifically for this day. My phone buzzed with Sarah's text. We're downstairs. Don't embarrass us. I didn't reply. Instead, I grabbed my keys to the Tesla and headed to my garage. Let them wait. Lauren met me at the Four Seasons private entrance at 9:15. James Chen's already here. The AV team has your presentation queued. Madison, you need to know the entire Mitchell family has a VIP table, table 2, directly in front of the stage. Of course they do. I checked my phone. 17 missed calls from Sarah. They're probably losing their minds that I didn't ride with them. There's more. The Denver Business Journal has a reporter here. The signing's being live-streamed to Meridian's investors. This is bigger than we thought. I touched the USB in my pocket. 3 weeks of evidence. Good. The more witnesses, the better. We entered through the back, straight to the green room. James Chen was reviewing notes when he saw me. Madison, ready to make history? More than you know, James. He studied my face. Jennifer Walsh mentioned some family concerns about you. Should I be worried? Only if you consider holding people accountable for criminal trespass concerning. His eyebrows rose, but he smiled. I had a feeling there was more to the story. The Mitchells have been thorns in Denver's side for too long. Whatever you're planning, just keep it professional. Always, I said, though my heart raced. I don't stoop to their level, James. I rise above it and let the facts speak. Through the door, I could hear the crowd gathering. In 30 minutes, Sarah would discover her delusional sister was about to sign the biggest architectural contract in Colorado. And that was just the beginning. Can you imagine the look on Sarah's face when she realizes the tick she's been trashing is about to sign a $45 million deal? What do you think the Mitchell family deserves for literally stealing someone's home and then gaslighting them about it? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if this story of standing up to toxic family resonates with you, please share it with someone who needs to hear that their worth isn't determined by their family's opinion. The revelation that's about to happen will be absolutely priceless. The Mitchells are sitting right in the front row. 10:00 a.m. Sharp. The ballroom doors opened, and I watched from backstage as 200 of Denver's elite took their seats. The Mitchell family commanded table 2 like royalty. Robert in his three-piece suit, Patricia dripping in diamonds, David scrolling his phone with practiced boredom, and Sarah was standing, frantically scanning the room. Looking for me, no doubt. Her mentally unstable sister who'd ditched their ride. The lights dimmed. James Chen took the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a historic moment for Meridian Holdings. Today, we announce our exclusive partnership with one of Colorado's most innovative architectural firms. Sarah finally sat, whispering urgently to David. He shrugged, unconcerned. Robert was glad handing the table next to them, completely in his element. These were his people, his world. He owned this room, or thought he did. This partnership, James continued, represents $45 million in development over the next 5 years. But more than that, it represents our commitment to working with integrity, innovation, and excellence. Patricia leaned over to Jennifer Walsh at table 3, probably still spreading poison about their troubled relative. I saw Jennifer's slight frown, her glance toward the stage. The architect we've chosen has transformed Colorado's luxury landscape while maintaining absolute discretion and professionalism. Their portfolio includes the award-winning Vail Resort renovation and the Aspen Arts Center that Architectural Digest called revolutionary. Sarah's head snapped up. She knew those projects. She'd driven past the Vail Resort last month, posted selfies there, but she couldn't possibly imagine. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the founder and lead architect of Foster Architectural Design, Madison Foster. The spotlight hit me as I walked onto the stage. The applause was thunderous, but all I could focus on was table 2, where 4 jaws had dropped in perfect synchronization. The applause continued as I shook James Chen's hand, but I kept my peripheral vision on table 2. Sarah had gone pale, her hands gripping the table edge. David's phone clattered onto his plate. Patricia's perfectly composed face cracked like an ice sculpture in July. But Robert's expression was the masterpiece. Confusion, rage, and calculation warred across his features as he processed what this meant. "Thank you, James," I said into the microphone, my voice carrying clearly through the ballroom. "And thank you all for being here to witness this incredible partnership." Sarah started to stand, but David yanked her back down. I saw him hiss something at her, probably reminding her about the live stream cameras, the reporters, the board members at surrounding tables. Foster Architectural Design started in my studio apartment 6 years ago, I continued, clicking to my first slide, a photo of that cramped space. Some people called me delusional for thinking I could compete with established firms. I made eye contact with Sarah. She looked like she might vomit. But I believe that talent, integrity, and hard work speak louder than connections or inherited privilege. Jennifer Walsh was staring at Patricia now, clearly reassessing last night's conversation. Marcus Webb at table 5 leaned forward, intensely interested. James Chen joined me at the podium. Madison's portfolio speaks for itself, but it was her character that sealed this partnership. In our due diligence, every client praised not just her vision, but her honesty and discretion. The irony was delicious. There sat the Mitchells, who'd painted me as unstable, watching Denver's business elite celebrate my stability and success. Now, I said, advancing to the next slide, let me share my vision for Meridian's Colorado properties, inspired by my own mountain retreat in Aspen. Robert's face went from red to purple. The screen behind me filled with a stunning photograph of my lodge at Golden Hour, its timber and stone facade glowing against the mountain backdrop. Gasps of appreciation rippled through the audience. This is my personal retreat in Aspen, I said smoothly. Purchased in March 2022 for $2.8 million. It's where I develop my most innovative concepts, where creativity meets Colorado's natural majesty. Sarah's champagne glass trembled in her hand. David was typing furiously on his phone, probably Googling property records. Patricia had gone rigid, her social smile frozen like a mask. The integration of natural materials with modern luxury, the seamless blend of indoor and outdoor spaces, these principles will define the Meridian properties. I clicked to the next slide. The property deed, my name clearly visible. When you truly own something, when it's yours through honest work and investment, you understand its value differently. Robert stood abruptly, his chair scraping loudly. A few heads turned. This particular property, I continued, maintaining perfect composure, has been my sanctuary for over 2 years. Though I've recently discovered some security concerns. I clicked again. The slide showed a screenshot from my security systems app, just the interface, nothing incriminating yet. But the date stamps were visible. 3 weeks of recorded footage. Ownership isn't just about papers and deeds, I said, looking directly at Robert, who was now standing frozen. It's about respect. For property, for boundaries, for the truth. Marcus Webb was recording with his phone. The Denver Business Journal reporter had moved closer to the stage. Sarah grabbed David's arm, whispering urgently. But enough about my personal investments, I said, clicking to the next slide. Let's discuss how Meridian's properties will redefine Colorado luxury. Robert sat down slowly, his face ashen. He knew what I had, and he knew when I might use it. Before we dive into the Meridian portfolio, I said, my finger hovering over the presentation remote, I should address something. As many of you know, property security is paramount in luxury real estate. My Aspen Lodge features state-of-the-art surveillance. The screen changed. Time-stamped footage, October 1st, 2:34 p.m. Sarah picking my lock while David watched. The audio was crystal clear. She'll never know. The ballroom went silent. This is what 3 weeks of criminal trespass looks like, I said calmly as the footage rolled. Robert claiming it was Mitchell property, Patricia shoving my belongings into closets, Sarah hosting parties, giving tours, claiming ownership. Oh my God, someone whispered at table 7. Sarah stood, her face crimson. You can't. Sit down, Sarah, Robert growled, but his authority had evaporated. Everyone was watching a split screen now. Robert on camera saying, Mitchell Holdings' newest acquisition, next to the official property deed with my name. The footage kept rolling. Sarah in my master bathroom, David's feet on my coffee table, Patricia redecorating. Their casual contempt, their entitled theft, all in HD clarity. James Chen stepped to the microphone. This is deeply concerning. The integrity issues here were exactly what I discovered Friday when I went to prepare for today's presentation, I interjected smoothly. The same people who told you I was delusional and unstable have been criminally trespassing on my property while claiming to own it. Jennifer Walsh stood up at table 3, staring at Patricia with undisguised shock. The live stream chat was exploding. I could see it on the AV team's monitor. Marcus Webb was typing rapidly on his phone. The board vote was in 4 hours, and Robert Mitchell had just been exposed as a fraud in front of everyone who mattered. Now, I said, clicking past the footage, shall we discuss the actual Meridian project? James Chen returned to the podium, his expression grave but determined. Ladies and gentlemen, what we've just witnessed is exactly why Meridian Holdings chose Madison Foster. In a world of facades and false claims, she represents authenticity backed by evidence. He produced the contract, its Meridian Holdings letterhead gleaming under the stage lights. Madison, it's my honor to officially welcome Foster Architectural Design as our exclusive Colorado partner. I signed with steady hands while cameras flashed. $45 million, 5 years of guaranteed work. The vindication was overwhelming, but I maintained my composure. This partnership, James announced, is built on trust, talent, and truth, values that seem increasingly rare. His gaze swept over table 2, where the Mitchells sat like statues. Madison's integrity in handling this situation with professionalism rather than petty revenge speaks volumes about her character. The audience erupted in applause, everyone except table 2. Sarah was crying now, mascara running. David had his head in his hands. Patricia was frantically texting, probably damage control. But Robert was staring at me with naked hatred. Thank you, James, I said, accepting the signed contract. Integrity isn't just about big moments. It's about daily choices, who we respect, what we take, what we claim as ours. I looked directly at Sarah. And what boundaries we maintain, even with family. Marcus Webb stood and started clapping. Others joined him. A standing ovation, except for the 4 people who tried to destroy me. Before we continue, James added, I should mention that Meridian Holdings has a strict policy about working with individuals involved in criminal activities. We'll be reviewing all our associations carefully. The implication was clear. Robert's connections, his influence, his carefully cultivated network, all of it was now toxic. The contract was signed. The truth was out, and we still had the whole presentation ahead. During the 15-minute break, the Mitchells imploded in real time. I watched from the stage as Robert cornered 3 board members near the coffee station, his voice carrying despite his attempts at whispering. It's a misunderstanding, family property dispute, you know how these things get twisted. The board members backed away like he was radioactive. One actually said, Robert, we all saw the footage. You claim to own property that wasn't yours, at the association party no less. Sarah tried to approach me as I descended from the stage, mascara streaked and desperate. Madison, please, we need to talk. All communication goes through my attorney, I said, sidestepping her. Lauren Hayes, you met her once. You called her another one of Madison's loser friends. David was on his phone in the corner, his voice rising. No, I need you here now. Criminal trespass? How is that possible? We thought, Robert said. The best part was Patricia, who'd discovered that her society friends were already distancing themselves. The same women who'd air-kissed her an hour ago now whispered behind manicured hands, occasionally glancing at her with barely concealed delight. Nothing travels faster than scandal in Denver society. Jennifer Walsh approached me. Madison, I owe you an apology. Patricia told me you were unstable, struggling with delusions. I actually questioned James about hiring you. And what did James say? That Patricia Mitchell wouldn't recognize talent if it signed a $45 million contract in front of her. She smiled grimly. He was right. The Denver Business Journal reporter materialized beside us. Ms. Foster, can you comment on the Mitchell situation? I believe the evidence speaks for itself, I replied. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a presentation to finish. Behind me, I heard Robert's phone ring. The caller ID would show Marcus Webb. The board vote was in 3 hours. The presentation resumed, and I delivered my vision for Meridian's properties with perfect professionalism. Every slide, every concept, every detail demonstrated why I'd earned this contract through merit, not connections. The Meridian Aspen property will feature sustainable materials sourced locally, I explained, clicking through architectural renders. Much like my own lodge, which some of you saw earlier. Before the security footage, I mean. Nervous laughter rippled through the audience. The Mitchells remained frozen at table 2, afraid to leave and trigger more whispers, unable to stay without drowning in humiliation. Halfway through, Sarah stood and tried to slip out quietly. The Denver Business Journal photographer captured her exit. Tears, ruined makeup, and all. Tomorrow's headline wrote itself. When I finished, the questions from the audience were telling. Ms. Foster, how do you maintain boundaries with difficult clients? Will your firm be implementing security measures for your project sites? How important is property documentation in your business? Each question was a veiled reference to the elephant in the room. I answered professionally, never mentioning the Mitchells directly, but everyone understood. James Chen closed the ceremony. Integrity in business isn't just about contracts and profits. It's about character. Today, Madison Foster demonstrated both exceptional vision and unshakable principles. That's why she's the future of Colorado architecture. As people began to leave, Lauren appeared at my elbow with her phone. Madison, you need to see this. Sarah posted on Instagram 10 minutes ago, trying to claim this was all a misunderstanding. The comment section was brutal. Screenshots of the security footage were already circulating. Someone had tagged the Colorado Real Estate Association's official account. Also, Lauren added, I just received a call from Robert's attorney. They want to resolve this quietly. Too late for quiet, I said, watching Robert argue with someone on his phone. Far too late. By 12:30 p.m., the Mitchells' world was crumbling in real time. I sat in the Four Seasons lobby with Lauren, watching it unfold on our phones. The Colorado Real Estate Association's emergency board meeting had been moved up to 1:00 p.m. Marcus Webb had shared the security footage with the entire board via secure link. The Denver Business Journal's website already had a breaking news banner: Mitchell family exposed in property fraud at Meridian signing. Robert's trying to withdraw from the chairman race, Lauren reported, scrolling through her emails. But Marcus says it's too late. They're voting him out of his current positions, too. My phone buzzed, Mom calling. I let it go to voicemail. Sarah appeared in the lobby, David trailing behind her. She'd fixed her makeup but couldn't hide the devastation in her eyes. Madison, please, 5 minutes. Your 5 minutes expired when you called me a tick in my own home. It's going to ruin us, she burst out. David's job, Robert's reputation, everything we've built. Everything you built on lies, I corrected, and theft, and treating me like I was nothing. David stepped forward. What do you want? Money? An apology? Name it. I want my property vacated within 48 hours. I want $15,000 for damages and utilities. And I want a written agreement that you'll never come near my properties again. That's extortion. That's generous, Lauren interrupted. Criminal trespass in Colorado can carry jail time. Would you prefer we press charges? Behind them, I saw 3 board members entering the hotel, heading for the emergency meeting. They saw Robert near the elevators and deliberately took the stairs. 48 hours, I repeated. Lauren will send the settlement agreement, sign it or deal with criminal charges. Your choice. Sarah's phone pinged. Her face went white as she read. The association, they've canceled our membership. 2:15 p.m. Lauren and I were having a late lunch at the Four Seasons restaurant when Marcus Webb approached our table looking satisfied. Thought you'd want to know immediately, he said. The vote was 15-3 against Robert. He's not only lost the chairman bid, he's been removed from his committee positions and asked to resign from the board entirely. I set down my water glass carefully. 15-3, that's decisive. The security footage was damning. But what really sealed it was his behavior over the last 3 years. This was just the final straw. Marcus paused. The new chairman-elect wanted me to thank you for your transparency and professional handling of a difficult situation. Who won? Lauren asked. Elizabeth Chen, no relation to James before you ask. She's been pushing for ethics reforms for years. Robert always blocked them. He smiled. Not anymore. My phone buzzed with a text from James Chen. Just heard about the board vote. Karma works fast in Denver. Dinner Thursday to discuss the first project? Another text. This one from an unknown number. Ms. Foster, this is Patricia Mitchell. We're prepared to sign your agreement and vacate immediately. Please have your attorney send the documents. The capitulation was complete. Marcus continued. There's talk of a full audit of Robert's previous board decisions. Apparently, this isn't the first time he's claimed ownership of things that weren't his. Just the first time someone had security cameras. Through the window, I saw Robert and David loading boxes into their Range Rover. Security had escorted them out of their board office. Patricia stood beside the car, on her phone, probably canceling every social engagement for the next 6 months. Thank you for letting me know, I told Marcus. Thank you for having the courage to expose them. They've bullied people in the city for too long. That evening, I finally listened to Mom's voicemails. 7 of them, each more frantic than the last. Madison, what happened? Sarah's hysterical. The news is saying something about trespassing? Call me immediately. How could you do this to your sister? Madison Elizabeth Foster, I demand an explanation. Your father just showed me the property deed. Why didn't you tell us? Oh my God, Madison, I'm so sorry. Please call me. I called her back. Madison, thank God, I don't understand. Sarah said it was their property, that David bought it. Mom, Sarah lied. They all lied. For 3 weeks they've been living in my house, telling everyone they owned it, while calling me delusional. Silence. Then, your house. Your $2.8 million house. Yes. And the contract with Meridian? $45 million? That's real? Yes. But you never said anything. All these years you thought I was a failure. The unsuccessful daughter. I know exactly what you thought, Mom, because you and Sarah reminded me constantly. I heard her sharp intake of breath. That's not, we were just worried. Dad knew, didn't he? I interrupted. He figured it out. A pause. He suspected. Said your apartment was too nice for someone supposedly struggling, and you were too calm at family dinners when Sarah bragged about David's money. But you never asked, never wondered, just assumed Sarah's version was true. Madison, She started crying. We failed you. I failed you. I'm your mother, and I let Sarah, God, the things she said about you, and I believed them. I know, I said quietly, but I'm done being the family scapegoat. Things change now, or I walk away permanently. Whatever you need, she whispered. Whatever it takes. Tuesday, October 22nd, 9:00 a.m., Lauren's office. The Mitchells' attorney, a nervous man named Harold Brennan, slid the signed settlement agreement across the conference table. Every term accepted. No negotiation. My clients have vacated the Aspen property as of 6 a.m. this morning, he said. The keys are here, along with a cashier's check for $15,000 covering damages and utilities. I reviewed the paperwork. Their signatures looked shaky, especially Robert's. The restraining order? Lauren prompted. Agreed. They won't come within 500 feet of any property owned by Ms. Foster or her company. Harold cleared his throat. They also wanted me to express their regret. Regret, I repeated flatly. Yes, for the misunderstanding. Lauren laughed. Misunderstanding? We have 3 weeks of security footage showing deliberate trespass and fraud. My clients maintain it was a family miscommunication. Your clients, I interrupted, are lucky I'm not pressing criminal charges. That's all the consideration they get. Harold nodded rapidly, gathering his briefcase. The check will clear immediately. And Miss Foster, off the record, the whole city knows what they did. Robert can't get a lunch reservation anywhere that matters. David's been put on leave from his firm pending an ethics review. And Sarah, well, she's become rather infamous on social media. After he left, Lauren pulled up her tablet. Want to see something interesting? The Colorado Attorney General's office just announced an investigation into Mitchell Holdings' property claims over the past 5 years. Robert's empire is crumbling. Completely. Oh, and James Chen's assistant called. He wants to move your first project meeting to tomorrow. Apparently, the board is so impressed with how you handled this situation, they're fast-tracking the first development. I signed the settlement agreement, officially closing this chapter. Send certified copies to everyone. I want documentation of everything. By Tuesday afternoon, the internet had made the Mitchells infamous. Hat Lodgegate was trending in Denver, and someone had created a meme of Sarah's "What do you want, Tick?" moment paired with my contract signing. I scrolled through my phone in my office, watching the digital demolition. The Denver Business Journal's full article was brutal. Mitchell family empire collapses after property fraud exposed. They'd interviewed 5 former associates of Roberts, all sharing similar stories of bullying and false claims. Sarah's Instagram had gone private, but not before screenshots of her living my best life posts from my bathtub went viral. Someone had created a side-by-side, her claiming ownership versus the property deed with my name, 47,000 shares and climbing. My own LinkedIn exploded. 300 connection requests, 50 messages from potential clients, and 12 interview requests from architecture magazines. James Chen had publicly commented, "Integrity in action, proud to partner with Madison Foster." Then something unexpected. A message from David's younger brother, Michael, who I'd met only once. "Madison, you probably don't remember me, but I wanted to say thank you. My family has bullied and gaslit me for years about my own achievements. Seeing you stand up to them gave me courage. I'm finally going to therapy and setting boundaries. You're a hero to more people than you know." The Meridian stock price closed up 3.2%. James texted me, "The board loves that we're associated with someone who stands for truth. You've enhanced our brand just by being yourself." But the best response came from an unexpected source. Elizabeth Chen, the new association chairman, posted, "Today's lesson: document everything, respect property rights, and never, ever underestimate someone just because they're quiet. Congratulations to Madison Foster on the Meridian partnership. This is what earned success looks like." Wednesday morning, I was reviewing architectural plans when my assistant knocked. "Ms. Foster, your sister is here. She doesn't have an appointment, but she says it's urgent." I found Sarah in my waiting room, a far cry from the woman who'd called me a tick 5 days ago. Designer clothes replaced with simple jeans and a sweater. No jewelry except her wedding ring. Her usual perfect makeup absent, showing exhaustion and stress. "Thank you for seeing me," she started. "You have 5 minutes." She flinched but nodded. "I need you to understand. Robert told us it was family property. He said he'd bought it as a surprise investment, that the paperwork was still processing." "Stop!" I held up my hand. "Even if that were true, which we both know it isn't, you called me delusional. A tick. An embarrassment. That had nothing to do with property confusion." Her face crumpled. "I was jealous. God, Madison, I've always been jealous. You were smarter, more talented, more everything. But I was older, so I had to be better. When I couldn't be, I made sure everyone thought you were less." "That's not an apology. That's an explanation." "You're right." She took a shaky breath. "I'm sorry. I'm sorry for every cruel word, every dismissive comment, every time I made you feel small. I'm sorry for stealing from you and lying about it. I'm sorry for trying to destroy your reputation when you caught us. And I don't expect forgiveness. I just needed you to know that I know what I did, what I've been doing for years." I studied her. For once, she seemed genuine, but trust once shattered doesn't rebuild easily. "I'm not interested in repeating our old patterns, Sarah. If you want any relationship going forward, it starts with respect and maintains boundaries." Sarah leaned forward, desperate. "Tell me what you need. What boundaries? I'll do anything." "Anything?" I pulled out a legal pad. Fine. Here are my non-negotiables. First, you never again comment on my success, my choices, or my life unless asked. No passive-aggressive remarks, no jokes, no undermining. She nodded quickly. Second, you correct the record with everyone you've lied to about me. Every family member, every friend, every social media follower. You tell them the truth about my success and your lies. Madison, that's humiliating? Yes. Like being called delusional at every family gathering for 5 years. She swallowed hard. Okay. Third, we start with structured interactions only. Holiday dinners with the whole family, nothing more. No sister lunches, no girls' trips, no pretending we're close. If you can respect my boundaries for a full year, we can reassess. A year? You've had 32 years to treat me with respect. A year is generous. She was crying now, but nodding. What else? Therapy. Real therapy. Not some life coach David's mother recommends. You work on why you need to diminish others to feel valuable. Lauren can recommend someone who specializes in family dynamics and narcissistic behaviors. You think I'm a narcissist? I think you've never had to face consequences before. This is your chance to grow or lose me forever. Sarah stood slowly. I'll do it. All of it. Madison, I know I don't deserve another chance. You don't, I agreed. But I'm offering one anyway. Don't waste it. She headed for the door, then paused. The lodge, it's beautiful. You always did have better taste than me. It was the first genuine compliment she'd ever given me. Maybe there was hope. Maybe. Thursday evening, after my successful first planning session with James Chen, I found David waiting by my car in the Four Seasons parking garage. I'm not here to cause problems, he said quickly, hands raised. I just needed to apologize, separately from Sarah. I kept my key fob ready. You have 2 minutes. I knew something was off when Robert said he bought that lodge. He's been struggling financially for months. The board positions were all he had left. But I wanted to believe it because he struggled for words. Because it meant I was still part of something powerful. And trampling me was acceptable collateral damage? Yes, he admitted. I'm not proud of it. But yes, you were an easy target. Sarah had painted you as this failure for so long I never questioned it, never looked closer. Madison, you built an empire while we mocked you. That takes incredible strength. It takes boundaries, I corrected. Something your family doesn't understand. Didn't understand. This week has been educational. He pulled out an envelope. I wanted to give you this personally. It's from Michael, my brother. He wanted to thank you but was too nervous to reach out directly. I took the envelope. How's Sarah handling the boundaries? She's devastated but determined. She's already called 6 family members to correct the record. Posted a public apology on Facebook. Started therapy yesterday. He paused. I'm in therapy too. Turns out growing up as Robert Mitchell's son did some damage. The whole family needs therapy. The whole family is getting it. Even Mom, though she's calling it life coaching to save face. He attempted a smile. You did us a favor, Madison, a painful, humiliating, expensive favor, but still, I didn't do it for you. I know. That's what makes it even more powerful. April 2025. I stood in my lodge, truly mine now, reclaimed and redecorated, addressing 12 young architects from Colorado's universities. The Foster Foundation's first mountain retreat was in session. Success isn't about connections, I told them, gesturing at the view that had cost me so much to protect. It's about competence, integrity, and knowing your worth. My phone buzzed with a text from James. Vail project ahead of schedule. Board approved your bonus. Drinks Thursday to celebrate? Foster Architectural Design had grown 40% in 6 months. We'd moved to a larger office, hired 15 new employees, and had a waiting list of clients inspired by the Meridian Partnership. The Denver Business Journal had featured me on their cover. The architect who built boundaries. Lauren appeared at the door. Madison? Sarah's here for Easter dinner. She brought that potato salad you used to like. The family dinners were still awkward, but improving. Sarah had kept every promise: therapy twice a week, public corrections, respectful boundaries. She'd even defended me when Aunt Patricia, no relation to Robert's wife, made a snide comment about family loyalty. Also, Lauren added, Robert Mitchell's divorce was finalized yesterday. Patricia got everything except the debt. He's living in a one-bedroom apartment in Aurora. I felt no satisfaction in his complete downfall, just relief that he could no longer hurt anyone from a position of power. David and Sarah had downsized too, selling their McMansion to pay legal fees and debts. They lived modestly now, both working regular jobs without family connections. Tell Sarah I'll be down in 5 minutes, I said. As my students took notes, I thought about transformation. Not just mine or Sarah's, but the entire ecosystem that had enabled the Mitchells' behavior. Sometimes, one person standing up changes everything. The Easter dinner was surprisingly pleasant. Mom had finally stopped overcompensating with excessive praise. Dad smiled more, freed from years of keeping the peace. Sarah contributed to conversations without dominating them. Even David seemed lighter, freed from his father's shadow. The Meridian Vale property broke ground yesterday, I mentioned, passing the salad. We saw the announcement, Mom said. The design is stunning, Madison. Thanks. I noticed Sarah start to speak, then catch herself. Old habits. What were you going to say? I asked her. She looked surprised. I was going to ask if you're happy, really happy, not successful. I know you're that, but happy. It was the most genuine question she'd ever asked me. Yes, I said simply. I am. After dinner, as we cleared dishes, Sarah pulled me aside. I have something for you. She handed me a small wrapped box. Inside was a silver frame holding a photo I'd never seen. Us as children, maybe 5 and 8, building sandcastles together. Before the competition, before the cruelty, just sisters. I found it going through old boxes, she said. I thought maybe, someday, we could be something like that again. Not the same, but something. Maybe, I allowed. Time will tell. As they left, my phone buzzed with an alert from my security system. Motion detected at the front gate. But this time, it was just a deer family crossing the drive. No threats, no trespassers, just peace. I returned to my study where the Meridian contracts sat beside my architectural awards. Success wasn't just the money or recognition, it was this, standing in my own space, on my own terms, with boundaries intact and bridges slowly, carefully, being rebuilt. I learned that family respect isn't given, it's earned and enforced. And I'd never forget that lesson. If this story resonated with you, please like and subscribe for more stories about standing up for yourself with class and dignity. What boundaries do you need to set in your life? Share in the comments below. I read every single one. Did the Mitchells get what they deserved? Would you have pressed criminal charges? Let me know your thoughts. And remember, your worth isn't determined by family opinion, but by your own achievements and values. Nobody has the right to make you feel small, especially not the people who are supposed to love you. See you in the next story.